So everyone's been talking about the new Halo engine and the rumors of Halo on PS5, but you know what I want to talk about instead? The Until Dawn remake. Remember that? That came out. This piece of lazy anti-art garbage came out on the PS5 and Steam last week and completely flew under the radar because absolutely nobody asked for a remake of a game from the last console generation that still looked good and ran perfectly fine on the current consoles, but Sony said, fear not, we will remake it anyways, and also completely ruin the original game's presentation because we don't understand artistic framing or artistic lighting. And also, bonus on bonus, we launched the remake, bugged up the flagpole, because why would you ever want something more than pretty screenshots and cutscenes? I mean, honestly. The gaming industry did its usual thing last week where I went out of town for like 5-6 days and then it decided to drop a whole bunch of stupid news for fanboys to yell about while I was gone. But fear not, we're playing catch up now, I'm back in town, and while the Halo salt continues to bubble, I want to yell about Until Dawn for a few minutes because I'm amazed this piece of horse vomit was even greenlit in the first place, and I'm equally amazed that not even the PlayStation community at large was defending it, and it really doesn't even seem like they're playing it. Nobody is buying this thing. Oh, but don't worry, some PlayStation guys were defending it, and we'll get into that. But before we get into the salty fanboy screenshots, I want to be extremely clear about why I'm so fired up, and why this remake is so completely insulting, and that's coming from someone who really didn't even like the original Until Dawn all that much. Like, yeah, I thought it was neat. I love old, like, campy 80s, 90s horror movies, so, like, Until Dawn had its moments for me, but as someone who really doesn't like cutscene-heavy games, it shouldn't be a mystery as to why I'm so apathetic towards literally everything Supermassive Games makes. But let's just go over a few cool, groovy things about the Until Dawn remake. Aside from the fact that many of the original game's moments were ruined by the typical Sony obsession with realism instead of creative lighting choices, meaning this game now looks exactly like every other fucking game in Sony's library because Sony absolutely cannot wrap their head around the fact that you can have realistic character models and still have a unique art style and unique presentation at the same time as those realistic character models. But oh, don't worry, they also delisted the original Until Dawn from sale in favor of this full-price trash heap in certain regions. And yes, you heard me right, this remake is completely full price. And apparently it was also very buggy upon release on both console and PC. And if the original isn't delisted in your region yet, you can bet your big bazoingas that it will be soon, so you better go pick it up while you can. Oh, and just in case that wasn't enough, there were several other changes made to the original, like a new soundtrack that nobody asked for, and new controls that suck ass in places where they were perfectly functional back in 2015. But don't worry, Sony made sure you wouldn't be able to compare and contrast the remake with the original because, again, certain regions cannot buy the original anymore on the PlayStation Store. So if you want to play the original Until Dawn, you'll have to hunt down a physical copy and you can slide that disc into your discless console. Do you understand why so many of us are frustrated with all digital media? Oh, and did I mention that this game is running at 30 frames per second on the PS5? This remake that does practically nothing to the original game other than make it look graphically slightly worse and make the character models slightly higher quality. And also, the original version of the game was already running at 60 frames with the PS5 patch. You're telling me that the remake, built from the ground up for the PS5 proper, cannot get higher than 30 frames per second? Boy, are you excited to see how awesome the PS5 Pro is? Aren't you excited to spend $700 on Sony hardware that has earned your business so well? I also just can't get the logic behind releasing this thing like a week before the Silent Hill 2 remake. I truly do not understand what they thought was going to happen. Like 2 full-priced horror game remakes, but one of them is an actual remake, and the other is basically just a glorified overhaul mod. Like, how did they think this was a good idea? And I have many gripes with the Silent Hill 2 remake, as is well documented on this channel, but even I can recognize that that is a proper remake. Until Dawn 2024 is just trash. Put it in the can. But despite this being a perfect example of Sony's self-indulgence and not a product that anyone actually benefits from the existence of, and in many ways, the existence of this remake is actually detrimental to gamers worldwide, regardless of whether or not they even knew the original game existed, we still have some PlayStation fanboys defending this thing. So strap in, strap up, and let's make fun of some absolutely brain-dead PlayStation fanboys together, shall we? God, if you bought this fucking thing for full price, oh my lord. So IGN posted their review of Until Dawn Remake, and they get a response from @DarkTurtle56, who says, look, I've purchased Until Dawn, Silent Hill 2, pre-ordered the PS5 Pro. As an Xbox main, I'm doing my part to support PlayStation and the developers. Step it the fuck up, PlayStation fanboys. First of all, I'm pressing F to doubt that you're an Xbox main if you're just going out and buying all of the schlock that Sony is putting out there and you dropped $700 on the PS5 Pro. I kind of don't think you're an Xbox main. I think you're a corporate shill main, but that's just me. But also, are you really suggesting that supporting the developers means you have to buy a product that nobody asked for and a product that only exists because a corporation demanded it to be so? That's not supporting the developers. These developers would have been making something more artistic and more creative had they not gotten the marching order from Sony from the top down, and Sony from the top down is only going to do stuff like this and demand these marching orders if you keep buying them. I'm so tired of hearing that you're supporting the developers by buying the most anti-consumer and artistically vapid nonsense on the market. The existence of this game does not benefit you. It's like I said, the mere existence of this game is honestly kind of detrimental to you if you enjoy video games. But here you are saying that people need to step it up because they didn't spend money on it like you did. You paid full price for the overhaul mod that made the game worse in a lot of ways. You're doing your part to support the developers. Oh my god. Hey, you! Do you use your Steam Deck a lot, but it runs out of battery? Do you like to bring your Steam Deck places, but you always forget to charge it? Think there's no solution?
You're so stupid! There is!
This video is sponsored by the Antank magnetic power bank for the Steam Deck. It's a neat little device that's similar to other portable chargers and power banks that you may have owned in the past, or maybe you own right now, but it's specifically designed to work best with the Steam Deck in a neat little handy way. So like other power banks, you just charge it up and then use the cable to connect to your device, and it works with smartphones and other small devices as well, not just the Steam Deck. But if you want to use it with the Steam Deck, it'll magnetically attach to the back of the device, and it's small enough to stay out of your hands while you're using it and doesn't block the ventilation of the Steam Deck either, so you can use it while you're playing your Steam Deck and you won't run out of charge on the bus like the big stupid dodo head you are. A very simple, very effective product that has a 4.4 out of 5 rating on Amazon after almost 700 reviews, which I would say is a very good sign. The Antank power bank is available on antank.net, or if you would rather use Amazon, it is available there as well with Amazon Prime shipping. So huge thanks to Antank for sponsoring this video. This is a very cool product. I fully endorse this. If you're a Steam Deck enjoyer and you don't want to run out of charge on the go, but you also don't want to lug a big power bank around with you that you gotta, sit on your lap while you're charging the machine, give this thing a try. It's super neat, super tiny, very effective, and huge thanks to them for sponsoring the video. Jess checking in responds to the announcement that the game is out and says, Remaster Station 5, PlayStation continues to milk their fan base and the gaming media gives them a pass. And then they get a response from someone named @TheModernWarfare3 Goat, oh my god, who says 95% of new games are shit now and everyone complains, so why make something new? And you spelled new wrong, when you can just remaking a great game that everyone likes and add it to more platforms. So in order to add the game to more platforms, you have to remake it? Really? That's what you have to do? It's like, has the word port completely escaped your vocabulary? Like you are aware that ports exist, right? And that ports serve a purpose? But also, Just because you remade a game doesn't mean the original has to go away. Sony keeps fucking doing this. They just did it with Horizon Zero Dawn, and now they're doing it with Until Dawn, where they release a remake that is inferior to the original by basically everyone's account. We don't know if Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster is going to ruin the original, but I mean, they're delisting the original from PC storefronts. That's not a great start. The point I'm making is that you're saying that 95% of new games are shit now, which isn't even true. Play more games, please. Stop playing AAA games. Stop playing Madden and Call of Duty and nothing else. 95% of games are shit. Download Steam, look at new releases, look at what's on sale. There have been some banger games coming out the last few years, but you wouldn't know that because there wasn't a big enough logo on the box. But if the idea is that new games are shit, and people complain, and like, oh, why would you make something new, man? Just remake a great game. Why would you remake it if it already exists and is good? Why not put effort into new things? And that's not me saying that remakes have no place. I'm probably playing Dead Space in the background of this video, the Dead Space remake. I'm having the time of my life with the Dead Space remake. I am not arguing that remakes have no place, but I am arguing that remakes that do virtually nothing positive, or in some cases do absolute negatives to the original, like the Until Dawn remake, those need to go. Remakes are not a replacement for innovation and new products and respecting your consumers. They should be a bonus. They should be something to have on top of all the new content. Because what happens when you run out of remakes? What happens when you run out of remasters? Then what? You just remaster the remasters? If you're Naughty Dog, apparently so. Fuck! Okay, moving on. Chris Sparkling Zero responds to the news of the release and says 30 FPS in a remake for just $60 is crazy. They get a response that says a 60 FPS isn't necessarily needed, seeing this is supposed to be a movie more than a game the majority of the time, and movies run at 24 frames per second. Also, the original game ran at 30 FPS as well. So, okay, first of all, if I wanted to watch a movie, I would watch a movie. There is still gameplay in this game. Not a lot of it, but a little. But also, who is hurt by there being 60 frames per second? If you don't want to use 60 frames per second, that's fine. If you want your eyeballs to bleed, you can do that. They're not my eyeballs. But 60 FPS in a modern remake should absolutely be an option. Charging full price for a AAA game, a AAA remake, something that is supposed to be a step up, in Sony's own mind, a replacement for the original because it's such a step up. How is it not running at 60 frames per second? How is that even possible? Anti-Bot Squad responds and says, actually, the original runs at 60 FPS on the PS5. Look it up. Which, fact check, true. Until Dawn, like the original PS4 version, running on the PS5, runs at 60 frames. So again, explain to me how the remake couldn't get there. But don't worry, this person responds and says the game launched in 2014, bud. Actually, no, it was 2015. It ran at 30 FPS back then. Try again. That's not what he said. He didn't say 30 FPS back then. He said 30 FPS on the PS5. It's right there. Can you read? Chris responds, bro thinks it's still 2014, Lamau. You know the PS4 version even runs at 60 FPS on PS5, right? And the remake version not. This person responds and says, people like you are so cooked with that brain. Oh my god, it's the same thing as the fucking Last of Us 2 remaster. Last of Us 2, the PS4 version, ran at 60 frames on the PS5, but then the native PS5 version comes out and runs at 30 frames, and it's basically visually indistinguishable from the PS4 version running on the PS5. It's the exact same thing. Until Dawn on the PS4 runs at 60 frames on the PS5. And then Until Dawn, the native PS5 version, comes out, is, in terms of visual quality, almost indistinguishable from the original game, from the version that was already there, and it's running at 30. Explain this to me. But apparently, if you ask those questions, if you point that out, man, you're just so cooked. Just buy the product, consume the product, pay full price for the movie game. God, it's like, and then you people wonder why game, like, I don't understand how you can simultaneously be like, man, gaming sucks, modern gaming sucks, games suck these days, while also defending this. It baffles me. How do you not see that you are the problem? If you stopped buying this shit and stopped defending this shit would go away. PlayStation Universe tweets out a super important news about how Until Dawn on PC is one of Sony's lowest performing titles on the platform so far. Well, you know, and also on the PlayStation as well. Like, this game is not doing too hot on the PlayStation either, but by all means, let's focus on the PC version here. This is my favorite thing that Sony fanboys do. Like, a game will come out, it doesn't do too hot on the PlayStation or the PC, but then you focus on the PC. Like, bro, it's not like you're supporting this thing either. Yeah, of course people aren't buying it, but then they get a response from Carnage Ferns, who says, time to stop the PC ports at Herman Holst. Not time to stop the pointless full-price remakes nobody asked for. Not, well, yeah, it performed like shit on the PlayStation as well, so obviously it performed poorly on the PC. Not, yeah, obviously it sold poorly on the PC. PC gamers have YouTube for free, and this is quite literally a movie game, so of course nobody's paying $60 for it. No. You read this article, and your takeaway was to tag in Herman fucking Holst, who surely has nothing better to do with his time, I mean, evidently, and tell him to stop PC ports of games altogether. That's the big takeaway from the Until Dawn remake, that the PC ports need to stop. That's the takeaway. That's the next step here. That's how we fix this. You people are legitimately delusional. Cadranth says, played it and it's pretty good. Only the lack of 60 FPS mode is annoying. The rest is pretty good. Cat Ninja says, it's in 60 FPS. Docs the Fox says, this runs at 30 FPS. The original was 60. Cat Ninja says, what are you smoking? PS4 couldn't run 60 FPS properly. This game runs 60 FPS. I know this because I can tell the difference between 30 and 60. Yeah, reminder, this game literally runs at 30. It literally runs at 30 frames per second. This is amazing. We can't even defend the garbage remake properly. Like, it's one thing to defend the garbage remake, but now we're defending the garbage remake with logic that literally isn't even accurate. The game runs at 30 frames. Like, that's it. You can argue that it's fine. You can argue that you're okay with it. But to be like, I can tell the difference between 60 and 30. This game runs at 60. It literally does not. You absolute box of buffoons. Like, oh my God. I shouldn't be, I feel like I shouldn't be this fired up about Until Dawn. I don't give a shit about Until Dawn, but I do give a shit about gaming. I give a shit about the biggest heads and the biggest names and the most influential companies in gaming doing things that actually matter and doing things that push the medium forward. And not only is Sony doing the complete opposite of new and innovative things, they are also doing the complete opposite of proper preservation, because you are replacing the original game with a literally, technically, and factually inferior version of the version that already existed, and you're charging full price. If you defend this, look me in the face right now. If you're defending this, please leave my hobby. There is no more space for you. We are full. Go away. Toodles.